Healthcare today is illness care.
Yes.
For the majority. The overall of healthcare, we think of hospitals, we think of, clinics that are treating people with chronic conditions. Healthcare is focused on illness care. It's focused on the problem.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Nice Veins World podcast. You are listening to the #1 personal development podcast for healthcare and wellness professionals. I am Nene Pablo, host of this podcast, registered nurse, and creator of Nice Veins, bro. Let's first of all address the elephant in the room. I am sitting on a lawn chair. We're straight up Ozark Trail.
I'm so used to it. I was just like, oh, we're in a different place. The walls look different. We have a plant in the middle. I didn't even think about the camp chair.
It's a camp chair. We transferred over from the living room to the bedroom, and here we are. Mm-hmm. We're trying to make this bedroom a studio. Today's podcast, I have my lovely and beautiful wife, Lexa, with me. Welcome.
Thank you.
This podcast is going to be an interesting one because we're talking about NEWSTART. NEWSTART is basically the fundamentals of health and wellness, okay? The things that we know like the back of our hand because it's been in textbooks, in training and stuff. And maybe actually in our training it wasn't in focus as much as it should have been, right? For a lot of us in any specialty that we're in. But NEWSTART talks about the very basic fundamentals of healthy living: nutrition, sunlight, water, air, sun exposure, all of these things that are just very basic stuff for a good, healthy, balanced lifestyle. It's very heavy on the lifestyle medicine stuff. We're going to start with the letter N. NEWSTART. What does N represent?
N represents nutrition.
It's something that I'm super passionate about.
Yes. So Alexander's mother is a registered dietitian.
Shout out to mommy. What's up? Mm-hmm. Gang, gang.
And so she raised them with a very nutrition-focused mindset.
Why is there a disconnect between what we know we should be teaching our patients and our clients in the medical world? We don't teach this enough.
I think that people like to eat the way they're used to eating.
Yeah, I feel like people get so emotional about their food.
Oh, yeah.
Like, don't,
Yeah, there's a lot of foods, honestly, that I like because it's nostalgic, not because I know that it's good for me. There are many foods that we go to because it's for comfort. It's kind of for like an emotional benefit. And so for those reasons, I think that habit, like we've made a habit of eating unhealthy things.
Super processed foods. And it's really easy. Yeah. You just go and grab something from the pantry.
And it's cheap and it's always laid out
you're like
in a way.
Out to work,
right?
You just grab your thing that's frozen, whatever. It's either frozen or if it's prepackaged or something like that that's super processed, and then you eat it. It's so easy. It's convenience. What's a way to fix this issue where we're not getting the nutrition we need?
I think that making sure you are planning ahead and you are possibly meal prepping. If you're not a meal prepper, finding foods that are convenient and don't require a lot of preparation.
Yes.
But are still healthy.
Like fruits.
Exactly. Yeah. Something that people don't know or don't want to go through is that time that it takes to switch how your taste buds react. Like we can train our taste buds to like natural sugars. We can train our taste buds to like
it's true
good food, like healthy whole foods.
And there are healthier options too. Let's say it's not that we're saying if you eat chips you are going to hell. It's that if like you can choose whether like a fried or a baked Cheetos. That's a big jump. I'm not saying that you're doing the best you can do.
Right.
But it's a jump in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And I would say taking small steps that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Try and just make one step. We've talked about this before on this podcast, 1% better every day. Choose something that you know is adding value to your diet. Focus on what you can add, not necessarily on everything you have to cut out because like that can be overwhelming. Focus on what is something whole, nutritious, good for you that you can add to your diet.
Exercise. How is there a disconnect between healthcare and what really we should be teaching, the fundamentals, when it comes to exercise?
That's a hard question
Yeah.
to say. How's there a disconnect? I mean, I think everything boils down to it being difficult, and people don't want to face difficult.
Same thing with diet, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's a short-term suffering for a long-term gain, we are creatures of convenience,
Yeah.
at least here in America. Like, and in the Western world, like, we love convenience. And I think whenever we decide and realize that, hey, our health is something that is an investment. Do we want to pay for this healthy living lifestyle right now? Or do we want to pay for all this healthcare down the road with conditions that are fully preventable with lifestyle changes? Do we want to pay for all of those treatments down the road?
With exercise, what happens in a hospital? You lay in bed, and even though people say, oh, you got to get up and moving, people don't move enough in the hospital, because a lot of times we blame the nurse, but a lot of times the nurse doesn't have the time to spend that much time with the patient to get them out of bed and do the exercising. But that's where I see the disconnect when it comes to healthcare.
W in New Start stands for water
Agua.
intake. Yes. Very good for your kidneys, very good for your body. Yeah. The general recommendation for water intake is take your body weight in pounds. So for example, if you weigh like 100 pounds, half that and drink that many ounces of water every single day. So if somebody weighs 100 pounds, they should drink 50 ounces. If somebody weighs 200 pounds, they should drink 100 ounces a day.
Getting enough water and making sure that it's not some kind of tap water. I think the tap water is something that is
Are you
little
a
sketchy.
water elitist?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if we're going to be made up of this much water.
Oh my
not
goodness.
if we are made up of that much water. But if, we have to recognize that hydration is so key. So key. And if we are made up of that much water, I think it's worth us obsessing over it just a bit.
Well, I don't like drinking tap water personally. However, if you're not a purist, if you don't care, if you're drinking tap water out here in Texas, water from a hose, like, go you, do you.
Do your thing, man.
I feel like we don't realize the power of sunlight.
Yes.
We have the effects on circadian rhythm.
That's actually a struggle for a lot of night shift people in healthcare, huh?
Yeah.
In the hospital. Healthcare is much larger than just the hospital, but I want to focus on the disconnect here with the hospitals is that we often see, unless you're in one of these like big, beautiful, nice glass window hospitals.
Bougie ICUs.
Bougie ICUs and stuff. You've got a lot of these patient rooms that are tiny and the windows are so small that you don't get that direct sunlight. So you have sick people who need the sunlight probably the most, just laying in bed, not moving and not getting sun and not getting in fresh air, which we're going to cover here in a little bit. And this is one thing that I was very proud of. There was one nurse that I worked with a few years ago. So this one nurse, she decided to take this one patient out of the room. It was a patient that had been there for weeks and weeks, and like literally roll this patient all the way out to the to the front of the hospital and kind of take her out and all this stuff. That takes time.
That takes a lot of time.
We've got to take the initiative, because if you don't do it, it's not like you're going to get fired. Listen up. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't be the most prudent nurse, a lot of times it's not like you're going to get dinged for it, but it's about being proactive about what's best for the patient. And if you do that, you're doing the right thing. We're at T, which stands for temperance. What is this big word? What does it mean?
Have self-control. When it comes to pretty much everything, whenever we think about self-control, we might think about food, we might think about sweets, but this is self-control in all areas, like being able to go to bed early, stop watching movies late into the night, don't spend hours and hours on your phone, like don't waste your life, and spend time on things that are good and productive and elevate your mind.
Yeah, don't be totally dependent on this where you can't function without caffeine. I feel like there's so many people who are doing that. Temperance is also a big deal because I think it has a lot to do with, when you say self-control, it's a lot of personal responsibility as to what goes in and out of my body. I'm very, very, paying attention. We have to be very, very careful as to what goes in and out. I mean, that's what temperance really has to do with.
In and out of our mouths and out of our, into our mind.
And our psyche as well.
Yeah. Like, what are you filling your mind with? Are you filling your mind with negativity, with things that make you hate your life, hate your job, make you just have a overall bad attitude? we definitely need to be mindful and exercise temperance in that way. And real quick, there is this awesome, I feel like there's this new movement within nursing and within healthcare workers in general that I've seen stuff on Instagram where people are addressing the unspoken alcoholism that we just promote in nursing culture, in
just healthcare,
in American culture. I don't know, in
American
just culture period, that we make it a joke that like, oh my gosh, at the end of a long shift, I'm just going to pour a glass of wine. Like, this is my mommy time. I'm not saying that you're a bad person for drinking alcohol at the end, like drinking wine at the end of a day, but there's an encouragement there that, hey, like,
you don't need this.
You don't need it. Look at your life. There's
look at your life. Prince of Egypt, y'all.
Oh, true.
Sorry.
Anyways, look at your life. Think about ways that you can manage stress in a different way because there are effects on your body.
That was powerful. Air. I'm not saying everything's dependent on air, okay? All I'm saying is that you had positive effects of people who were getting sunlight, who were getting fresh air, circulating air, and I don't think we give these fundamentals enough credit for how much just fresh water, like good water, good nutrition, good air, exercising, sunlight can do for our body and our psyche. Letter R, rest.
I like sleeping.
She loves sleeping, and sleeping is sleep deprivation is actually one of the things that affect Americans most.
You think even overnutrition?
I think I read somewhere that sleep is one of the things that affect Americans most. We don't get good sleep. We don't get enough sleep. Those two things. And if we were just sleeping more and getting more high quality sleep. And this is really tough for people who are working night shift.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, like when I was on night shift, that sucked. I just could never get enough rest. I was tired and grumpy all the time. Alexander can testify.
Oh yeah, it was a rough life.
He's like, dude,
friends,
what's wrong with you? It's like, I don't know, I'm just suffering. And whenever I switched over to day shift, it's not like everything
changed.
It's not like everything took care of itself. If you're working 7 days a week,
we rest on Saturdays, and that's
like
amazing.
A day free of work. Like we just focus on spending time with family, spending time with God, resetting our brains kind of, and refocusing on what we prioritize in life. And that is always, always really, really helpful. Like just being able to settle down and reset, refocus.
Yep. That's right. And then the last one, because we are right now in New Star, the last one is T. A lot of people try to go, oh yeah, New Star. No, friend. We've got to add that T, people. Trust in God. We are spiritual beings, friends. We are spiritual beings. And so we believe that there is a God, and that is the trust where we put, we don't have full control of things. We trust in him for that, and that helps with our stress life, our mental life. And so, and you can go through statistics. People who are religious, people who depend on a higher power, a higher being, they lead healthier lives. Full stop. That's just the way it is. So
like high stress is associated with higher morbidity. There's more risk for illness with high stress. And part of having high stress is having lots of fear, having lots of anxiety, and not knowing and believing that there is a solution for everything, that there is somebody else that has control. Like if things are out of our control, we get freaked out, right? And that's where the trust part comes in, trusting in God, knowing that we have a good God that cares about us, that is ultimately in control. We don't have to worry about every single thing. That's part of that stress relief. And so we talked about how we were going to discuss stress management a little bit more, but I think through all of New Start, it lowers our stress levels. If we do all of these things, it lowers our stress levels.
Yeah, and I think actually when we talk about the disconnect between healthcare and these fundamentals, the one that is most disconnected is trust in God. New Start, guys, that is super important. The fundamentals of health and wellness, we know about them mentally, we know them up here, but oftentimes we don't live it out. So let's practice what we preach. I hope that this was an encouragement to you, for you to say, okay, what in my life can I start to make some changes or improvements on? It can be overwhelming if we get all this information. We're like, oh my goodness, I have to change everything. Look at the things in your life where you can make some progress in. Okay, get some more outdoor time. Get some more movement involved in your life. Because let's not be in healthcare and not be healthy. It doesn't fit. Comment below if you're watching this on YouTube and tell us which letter in that acronym NEWSTART do you struggle most with. I would say I probably struggle with nutrition, because I love my snacks.
Oh, well. I could say that I struggle with all of them, but
maybe
I think temperance. Temperance, yeah, is probably my biggest one. Mm-hmm. We say all of this and we share this information not as people who are like
perfect
authorities and like we do this so well. You know, it's because we have this information. We are trying to implement it in our lives, and we just want to share it with you because there is so much that we are missing out on in health.
That's right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Remember to be a positive force and influence within healthcare and society. Que Dios me lo bendiga. When I would listen to podcasts before I became a podcaster myself, I didn't realize how much leaving a 5-star review helped. And so now on this side, I just want you to know that it really does mean a whole lot when people review and share the content. So if you enjoyed it, please share it with somebody and leave a 5-star review on whichever platform you use, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And if you're interested, you can also find us on social media at Nice Veins Bro, or shop online at niceveinsbro.com. My personal stuff you can find under Nene Pablo, which is spelled NENEPABLO. I spend most of my time on YouTube making vlogs and videos, and on Instagram. So I would love to connect with you. And remember, be a positive force and influence within healthcare and society. It's all about God, wellness, and purpose here. Thank you for listening. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Nice Veins Bro podcast, the number one I feel great. How are you feeling? Let me start again because you were talking over me. Just kidding. People are going to think I'm some kind of... It's basically...
Restart. I made a face. I was like, wow, you're struggling so bad.
So like fruits.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just you get a bunch of like olives. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
What?
Anyway, so what we're saying is don't be a freak.